Welcome and thank you for your attention and presence. The following presentation is titled Differentiated Instruction as a Pathway to Inclusion, Supporting Multicultural Classrooms and Becoming Citizens in an Interconnected World. The focus is on exploring how differentiated instruction serves as a pedagogical approach that promotes equity, inclusion, and active citizenship within diverse educational settings. Emphasis is placed on the role of responsive teaching in multicultural classrooms, where students from various cultural and linguistic backgrounds are supported in ways that foster both academic success and social integration. In today's educational landscapes, characterized by growing cultural and linguistic diversity, the imperative for inclusive and adaptive pedagogical strategies has gained unprecedented significance. Differentiated instruction stands out as a vital framework for addressing the diverse learning needs, prior knowledge, and social-cultural backgrounds of students, particularly within multicultural school settings. Rooted in the principles of equity, inclusion, and pedagogical responsiveness, this approach aims to provide all learners with equitable access to meaningful, engaging, and effective educational experiences. This study aims to investigate the implementation and perceived impact of differentiated instruction in a multicultural primary school setting. Specifically, it seeks to understand how teachers adapt their teaching to meet the diverse needs, interests, and learning profiles of students, the differentiation techniques they employ, and the effects of these practices on student engagement, academic progress, and inclusive classroom dynamics. The research questions are: to what extent do teachers adapt their instructional practices to the diverse needs, interests, and learning profiles of students in a multicultural classroom? What differentiated teaching techniques are most commonly used by teachers to address linguistic, cognitive, and cultural diversity? How do teachers perceive the impact of differentiated instruction on students' participation, academic progress, and the overall quality of the educational process? Differentiated instruction is a pedagogical approach aimed at responding to the varying readiness levels, interests, and learning profiles of students. It promotes equity by adjusting content, process, product, and learning environment to meet diverse student needs. Techniques include tiered assignments, flexible grouping, learning contracts, and choice boards. Differentiation helps every child meet and exceed standards, making learning more accessible and meaningful. It encourages student engagement and supports the development of high-order thinking. Furthermore, it fosters inclusive classroom environments where all learners feel valued and capable. The approach is not about individual lesson plans for each student, but about thoughtful, proactive design that respects learner diversity. This study utilized a qualitative research approach to gain in-depth insights into teachers' experiences with differentiated instruction in a multicultural primary school in Western Greece. Data were collected through semi-structured interviews with 5 educators who actively implemented differentiated teaching practices. The semi-structured format allowed for flexibility in exploring participants' perspectives while ensuring coverage of key topics. The interview questions focused on the extent of instructional adaptation, techniques employed, perceived impact on student engagement and progress, challenges faced, and overall effectiveness of differentiated instruction. The collected data were analyzed using thematic analysis, which identified 5 main thematic categories. 1. Adaptation of teaching to student diversity. 2. Differentiated instruction techniques and strategies. 3. Impact on student engagement and academic progress. 4. Challenges in implementing differentiated instruction. And 5. Perceptions of overall educational quality improvement. These themes provide a structured framework for understanding how differentiated instruction supports inclusion and academic success in diverse classrooms. All teachers acknowledge the diversity in their classrooms, including refugees, migrants, and Roma students, and emphasize the need to adapt their teaching. They provide linguistic support through simple language, visuals, gestures, and multimodal tools. They design differentiated activities based on students' levels and interests, allowing varied ways of expression. Collaborative learning is promoted through mixed group work that fosters peer support. They also focus on cultural inclusion by integrating students' cultural backgrounds into the learning process. Teachers rely on experience and intuition to adjust their teaching practices. Some pursue professional development to improve differentiated instruction. They face a lack of support, including limited resources, interpreters, and training. Differentiation depends largely on personal initiative rather than systemic support. As a result, adaptations are inconsistent and only partially implemented. All five teachers emphasize their ongoing effort to adapt teaching to the diverse needs, interests, and learning profiles of their multicultural classrooms, which include refugees, migrants, and Roma students. They employ strategies such as simplified language, visual and multimodal aids, differentiated activities tailored to students' levels and preferences, and collaborative learning methods, including the use of the jigsaw technique to foster inclusion and peer support. Cultural elements from students' backgrounds are also integrated to enhance belonging. Despite their commitment, teachers often rely on personal experience and intuition rather than formal training, as systemic support like specialized staff, interpreters, resources, and professional development is largely lacking. Consequently, differentiation tends to be partial and heavily dependent on individual teacher initiative. Differentiated instruction has positively impacted student participation and progress by increasing engagement, especially among those who previously felt marginalized or struggled with language barriers. It boosts students' confidence and fosters a sense of acceptance while promoting collaboration and positive peer relationships through group work. Although progress varies and often requires time and persistence to become evident, differentiation gives every student a voice and a meaningful role in the classroom. Despite challenges such as limited resources, this approach supports a more inclusive and equitable learning environment. Teachers face significant challenges in implementing differentiated instruction, including a lack of formal training, limited time for lesson preparation, and high classroom diversity in language and learning needs. Additionally, the absence of sufficient support staff, such as interpreters and specialists, place extra demands on them. To cope, teachers rely on self-education, collaboration with colleagues, creative reuse of materials, and building strong relationships with students and families. Despite heavy workloads and occasional student cooperation difficulties, they emphasize patience, empathy, and fostering a supportive classroom environment to successfully adapt their teaching practices. Differentiated instruction has significantly improved the overall quality of teaching by increasing student engagement and participation, especially among those who were previously disengaged. It fosters a more inclusive and equitable classroom environment where students' cultural identities are acknowledged, helping to reduce performance gaps. This approach also supports better academic outcomes through targeted assistance for learners with language or cognitive challenges. Additionally, it contributes to a calmer and more cooperative classroom climate by addressing individual needs, which reduces behavioral issues. For teachers, using differentiated methods promotes ongoing professional growth by encouraging reflection and a deeper understanding of each student's unique learning journey. Teachers demonstrate strong commitment to adapting instruction for diverse multicultural classrooms using strategies such as simplified language, visual aids, and collaborative learning. Despite limited formal training and lack of resources or support staff, they rely on personal initiative to implement differentiation. This approach has positively impacted student engagement, confidence, social interaction, and academic progress, particularly for marginalized learners. Challenges like time constraints and classroom diversity persist, but teachers overcome them through collaboration and self-education. Overall, differentiated instruction fosters a more inclusive, equitable, and positive learning environment while promoting ongoing professional growth for educators. Thank you very much.